Let's begin today's show then by putting the spotlight on Sistema.Bio, which is a global social enterprise that's specializing in innovative biogas technology. The company recently achieved a significant milestone, inaugurating the world's largest manufacturing facility for biogas plants in Chakan, Pune on World Environment Day. Alex Eaton is the founder and CEO of Sistema.Bio and now joins in on the show to talk about their plans as well as the recent inauguration of this plant. Thank you so much for taking time out. It's a sprawling area. I understand 130,000 square feet. Tell us a little bit about the annual production from this facility, the kind of capacity for prefabricated biogas.
Yes, thank you for having us on. The new Chakan plant will be the largest manufacturing facility in the world for pre-manufactured biogas plants, which can be distributed to smallholder farmers. And so now we have the capacity to make over 100,000 units a year. And in the same space, we have plans to be able to expand that production to over 300,000 units a year as we integrate automation.
So what was the investment that was put in for this plant? Because it's a state-of-the-art manufacturing facility.
It is. It is. Nothing like this has ever existed before in terms of the ability to take biogas technology from something that's traditionally been made in a bespoke manner in each farmer's home to something that's mass manufactured using the highest ISO standards, the excellence in quality, continuous improvement, and really, really high volumes.
So can you tell us what the factory currently operates at in terms of the total capacity and how the company is looking to grow the output over the coming years?
Yes, currently we're manufacturing 50,000 units, which will be installed here in India in 2023. So that's 50,000 units in the year. That's over 300 units per day being manufactured. And about 20% of the manufacturing capacity here in India will actually be exported to East Africa, Southern Africa for programs that we have there.
So there's a lot of cutting edge innovation and there's been a lot of tech integration. Can you tell us a little bit more about that with respect to the kind of machinery that you have and what are some of the products, etc., that you guys manufacture at this plant?
Absolutely. Just as a little bit of background, biodigester takes animal waste and it turns it into renewable cooking fuel for farmers, and it also turns it into a sustainable fertilizer to displace chemical fertilizers in the field. That's traditionally been done with brick and mortar systems. Our innovation is creating a very robust system that has a very, very long lifetime, but can also be installed in less than 1 day and is really, really easy for farmers to use. So it uses an advanced geomembrane material. And what the innovation at the factory is that we have advanced thermal welding equipment that allows us to create this very robust, high quality system, but that can also be folded and packed very easily and shipped from the Chakan plant here in Pune all over India and all over the world. And so what that means is that now farmers have access not only to really, really high quality technology, but a range of sizes. Our smallest unit is for farmers that might only have 2 or 3 cows in their house. We also produce large plants there as well that can work for farmers that have 100 or 200 cows in their household. And then we also manufacture and assemble and distribute from that point a series of biogas accessories. So high quality cooking stoves that farmers can use in their homes, also industrial burners, but also biogas filters, biogas booster pumps, other advanced biological filter equipment, biogas generators, electrical generators that produce electricity in addition to just thermal energy. So it's really a complete manufacturing and assembly and distribution point for biogas. And we really hope that that revolutionizes the amount of biogas technology that can reach Indian farmers in the coming years.
Okay, that's pretty interesting to understand. So Alex, tell us a little bit more. I mean, you spoke about catering to the small farm holders, the large dairies, the large food companies as well. What is the plan in terms of biogas units that you're looking to install by the end of the year, and how does it work for some of these companies as well as the small farm holders?
Yeah, we have 3 core pillars of our distribution strategy this year. The first and largest is working with the carbon market. So the global carbon market provides financing for smallholder farmers. When farmers install our technology, they dramatically reduce their methane emissions and they reduce the CO2 emissions that come from cooking with wood fuel. And so global carbon finance allows us to offer those products at a steep discount to farmers working through NDDB and other cooperative dairies around the world and around India and private dairies as well. We also work with CSR initiatives, and we also work with large dairy, international dairy brands that are really well known to help reduce the carbon emissions within their existing dairy supply chain. So all three of those come together, and we'll do over 40,000 units this year in India and another 20,000 units around the world that will be served from our manufacturing here. And we have another smaller manufacturing facility in Mexico as well. And really the potential is for us to really put smallholder and family farmers back in the center of agriculture in India. There's a global myth that smallholder farmers are inefficient. And the reality is they just don't have technology and training and financing that's designed for them. And what we're trying to do is prove that high-tech, modern technology designed for smallholder farmers can allow them to produce food that's healthy, good for their community, and sustainable, and produces less carbon emissions.
Okay, so it was, your company is one of those that have received the approval, one of the three biogas companies that have received approval from the Ministry of New and Renewable Energy to participate in the bioenergy program. Can you tell us a little bit more about how this is really going to help further the company's endeavors and a little bit more about the allocation that has been made by the ministry toward this program?
Absolutely. MNRE has been instrumental in biogas development in India for over 20 years. They've been managing traditionally the quality control on brick and mortar systems. Over the last couple of years, we worked together with other biogas companies to convince and co-develop with the ministry a series of criteria to ensure that farmers are receiving high quality, long-lasting technology that is fairly priced and that the performance is guaranteed. And so we worked with the ministry over a 2-year period to really validate the performance of our technology. And we've achieved that certificate and really excited to be able to collaborate with the ministry because the Indian government has seen that investing in smallholder farmers, investing in bioenergy, and investing in climate smart solutions is important. And so there is funding through MNRE to ensure that farmers have good access to this technology.
So, given that the Tata Trust really took the initiative to bring Sistema to India, tell us more about the kind of tie-ups that you have with big companies in the country and what the next few years could look like for Sistema Bio.
Absolutely. Tata Trust really believed in us when we were operating in other parts of the world. They saw the quality of our work, they saw the innovation in the design, and they offered to support us with a project with one of their partners, which is called Sydney in Daud, Gujarat, working in tribal areas where farmers, it was much harder to transport the bricks and mortars into these remote areas. And so they decided to try a modular, efficient technology. We really saw the power of our technology inside the Indian market and really saw that there was a space for us. And so thanks to their vision and their support early on, we were really able to take that, invest quite a lot in India, in our Indian team, and most recently in our newest factory. And yeah, the rest is history as we've become the biggest biogas player in India over the last 4 years. The next couple years, we're excited. This is a really important area for Indian companies that have made commitments to become net zero. So we're working with Infosys, for example, that has been visionary in their desire to develop low carbon programs, especially in the communities in and around where they have tech and data centers. So we've been a partner with them now for over 3 years, developing projects that allow farmers discounted access to technology. And those are part of Infosys's global strategy to reduce its carbon footprint. So thanks to their vision, that is a trend that seems to be catching on, and we're excited to work with other corporate actors in India as well to reduce their carbon impacts.
Okay, and just take us through your plans and ambitious goals. I understand 1 million biogas plants in India by 2030. Who are some of the partners that you will collaborate with, and what has been your total funding up until now?
Well, our plans are very ambitious. We hope that we could actually do more than 1 million farms by 2030. What is unique about India is that there's just a really incredible dairy supply chain for smallholder farmers. So the partners that we work with today have cumulatively over 40 million smallholder farmers in their dairy networks, and we're also working with microfinance institutions, with private dairies, and with other people in the milk value chain. So we think with that incredible coalition of people that are able to reach small farmers, promote this to small farmers, that we could actually do more than 1 million dairies. We, as a company, are aspiring to reduce 1% of the world's greenhouse gases. And that means that ultimately around the world, we'd like to reach 50 million dairies in the near term, which would allow us to achieve that very, very ambitious goal. And the plan is, we've just reached 50,000 units here in India, which is about 1% of 5 million farms. And that's really an aspiration that lets us know that we can achieve this. And we've grown by 100x since when we started the first year of operations. We've been able to see that incremental growth, and the factory is the first step in that growth. So working with existing actors in the supply chain, through the goodwill of other Indian corporates, and obviously in collaboration with the Indian government. And Modi's made a very ambitious goal for India to be carbon neutral by 2070, and we'd like to be a part of that.
All right, Alex, thank you for taking time out and giving us a better insight into Sistema Bio, their ambitious plans in India, as well as long-term roadmap.
Thank you for having me.
All right, moving on away from that, let's focus in on Bain Capital's latest report, which is titled E-Economy India 2023, which talks about their projections for the consumer internet economy by the year 2030 hitting $1 trillion. What role does India have to play in that, and how will AI help leverage that growth? We interacted with Navneet Chalal, who's partner Bain & Company. Let's listen in to what she had to say.
I think the reason we are very confident of this economy unlocking $1 trillion for the GDP is actually a confluence of three factors. I think we are interestingly at a point which is a bit of an inflection for the digital economy. The first most important factor that's playing out is actually an unprecedented digital consumption unlock that's happening. We do expect the GDP per capita to more than double by 2030, which is largely going to be led by consumption. 700 million internet users in the country with time spent online well ahead of China and already inching closer to US averages. So in some senses, the Haath Mein smartphone is now accompanied by Jeb Mein Paisa. And I think that combination is what has led to a dramatic shift in online transactors. We define these as people who are not just online for consuming video content or browsing social media, but are actually making purchases online. This number was 10 to 15% 5 years ago. Of the total internet users in the country. We now have about 30 to 35% of the total internet users in the country, the 700 million I spoke about, who are now transacting online. So both these savvy digital Indian users are going to actually spend more online as they premiumize, as they get exposed to new products, new services. We also expect more penetration in the internet user base itself. So both of those coming together, I think, will truly unlock at least the B2C digital economy. The other factor that's also played a very critical role is India's stack. I think India has figured out a way to build large digital public goods at a very different scale from the rest of the world. UP has perhaps been the largest innovation of the last decade, perhaps globally. So as ONDC, as OCAN, UHI find their feet in use cases, I think the foundational layer is so well laid that it can power innovation at a very, very breathtaking speed. That is the second reason we believe that the digital economy will take off as never before. And the last aspect is actually the business ecosystem coming together and the role that businesses will play. With consumer demand lined up, with the foundational elements through India Stack coming through, I think all kinds of businesses are already making strides in building a digital core. We also believe it will be more inclusive phenomena, not just driven by the startups, for instance. The first generation of success stories there have definitely led to a more mature, wizened, measured startups ecosystem, and that will continue to thrive. But it has also spurred large traditional businesses to reinvent themselves. So when the sourcing and distribution advantages of these large players meets the technology backbone that they are able.
I have a very basic, simple question. A lot of digital growth has taken care has happened in India largely because of the cost of capital. A Paytm or a Zomato would have not happened if the interest rates were so benign globally. Now we are in a very different regime. If interest rates are going to be normalizing, don't you think a lot of digital growth automatically could take a backseat largely because there is no free money available in the world?
We don't think so, actually. We believe, and we spoke to a bunch of investors as part of this work, the confidence on the India story continues to be, very, very high. And I think as we think about the availability of capital, there are two aspects maybe to keep in mind, right? The first is that we need to take a through cycle view of what we are looking at right now, which is the so-called funding crunch. And as the veterans in the system will tell you, both founders, investors alike, I think the greed fear cycles are a part and parcel of venture capital and startup world. So the big difference this time probably is just the magnitude of the cycle, given we are coming off, the mother of all bull markets. Of course, a zero interest regime was bound to have produced some excesses, and some of those excesses are getting purged now. We've seen this, play out before. If you think about the financial crisis 15 years ago or the dot-com wave, in some senses, I think it doesn't change the overall trend line. There are world-class companies being built out of India. I think that will not change. And if you think about, for instance, even 2022 is down 30% from 2021 in terms of capital flows. 23 is likely to be further down. But we saw the same thing, for instance, happen in 2012 as well, when VC funding fell by a similar magnitude. But what do we remember of that phase if you think about it now? It also gave birth to Flipkart, many, a Myntra, Freecharge, and the likes. So in some senses, I think companies will be born that will actually now be in a resource constrained environment, will probably innovate better, will have more robust fundamentals in terms of how they scale. And I think that phenomena is not something that we believe will get impacted. There is capital availability. It will get redirected to higher quality outcomes. And hence, I think the overall, if you think about the macro picture, India continues to be in decent shape. We are still the fastest growing major economy. We are going to likely continue to be in that spot. And there are so many tailwinds in play as well, right? The demographic dividend, the geopolitical landscape, high quality talent pool, I think, and a functioning democracy, and so on and so forth. So if there was a country likely to weather the near-term storm better than others, I think it'll probably be us.
Sure. Just a continuation of that point, Navneet, clearly, like you're saying, with faster adoption of the internet, the T+2 and beyond cities are expected to see the strong growth. But tell me, which sectors have you seen a better adoption when it comes to digital at large?
I think all sectors, frankly, have seen that, growth play out. But in particular, if I had to call out a few, I think e-commerce has done phenomenally well. 220 million online shoppers in the e-commerce space today, adding about 40 million year on year. And what's been very interesting is that more than 60% of that new shopper growth has actually come from smaller towns.
The spotlight then on Thyrocare's entrepreneurial journey. Our managing editor Nikunj Dalmia caught up with A. Velumani to talk about the power of diagnostic stocks, how he scaled from a zero, and what the outlook is on the diagnostics business after selling it as well to Pharmeasy.
There has been an air of doubt around always on e-pharmacy. The lobby of the physical stores is a big lobby. They were the kings for so long. Now only a couple of players, maximum 6, 7 are online, and these guys are a threat for them. So there is a tussle going on, and the government is trying to put a kind of balance. They have never said you can't do e-pharmacy. They are not approving e-pharmacy as a formal domain. So it's a fight, and it will take some time. It will not go away. So that's very clear, number one. The sentiments of startups If you look at all big startups have been having challenge, so is pharmacy as a startup having the entrepreneur based, investor based, the cash burning, everything is now under a challenge. The pharmacy as a legitimate business also they are trying to get addressed. The third thing is the companies which are burning too much too long will find it very difficult to survive. And people felt 1 or 2 years of burning will be end of the burning, and there are companies burning for 10 years. So that's the biggest.
Are you worried about your investment in pharmacy?
I am worried like any other investor, if your stock value has eroded 50%.
More than 50%.
No, I think what I see from, it's not a listed share. It's a gray market which is buying it. It's available at 50% cost of what I purchased. I haven't sold any share. I believe by year 2026, I should be making a decent return.
So if given an option to buy more shares of pharmacy or fresh shares of a diagnostic company.
Second
one. So you would like to buy more shares of pharmacy?
No.
More diagnostic stocks?
Yes.
Okay, moving away from that, then let's put the spotlight on UPI scams, because believe it or not, we have seen a case of those increasing of late. Scammers sending unauthorized payment links on SMS, requesting money, links as well. How exactly does it work and how should you protect yourself? My colleague Bhavya Dua joins in with that analysis. Bhavya?
As UPI is emerging as the most preferred digital payments platform, the UPI-related frauds are on a rise as well. According to the Finance Ministry, more than 95,000 fraud cases of UPI transactions were recorded in the country in 2022-23, an increase from 84,000 cases in 2021-22 and 77,000 cases in 2020-21. So several types of frauds take place on the UPI platform, and none of these are because of the issues with the UPI itself, but are rather modes of deception. So what are these scams and how can you save yourself from losing money? Let's take a look. Phishing scams. Scammers can send you unauthorized payment links via SMS. These bogus bank URLs will look identical to the original URL. If you click on that link, it will take you to the UPI payment app installed on your phone and will ask you to choose any of the apps for your auto debit. Once you give the nod, the amount will get debited from the UPI app immediately. Banks and government agencies and other financial institutions never ask for financial information via SMS. In the case of a UPI fraud, bring it to the notice of the bank or e-wallet company and get the wallet blocked to prevent further losses. Number 2. Request money. Fraudsters send request money links to the customer. Once the customer clicks or the fake link and authorizes that transaction thinking they'll get the money, the amount gets deducted from their account. Never make transactions to any random site which is asking you to claim rewards, cashback or money by making test transactions. Next one is money transfer by mistake. Cyber criminals usually send some amount via UPI apps such as Paytm, Google Pay, PhonePe and so on to their potential target and then call them saying it was a mistake. Following this, the fraudster shares the link with the target asking them to use it to return the money. If you click on the link, you will lose control of your digital wallet and bank account, which then becomes accessible to the cyber criminal. The next way is QR codes. This is another new method being used by scammers, and the scammer tells their target that the money will be sent using a QR code. When the code is scanned by the victim, he or she is asked to enter the UPI PIN. If the PIN is shared, the money instead of being credited is deducted from the user's account. So change your UPI PIN. It is always advisable to change your UPI PIN every fortnight. If not so, then UPI PIN reset on a monthly basis would be a good way to secure your account. Avoid sharing confidential details such as PIN, OTP and so on to keep your money safe. Banks have been warning customers never to share their OTPs and their bank account details with anyone over phone or via SMS. So beware about how you use your UPI apps from now on and keep following this space for more content about everything business and finance.
Let's listen in then to what Harsha Upadhyay had to say as he talks about his outlook for new age tech companies.
Yes, we have been a bit selective there. The valuations continue to be on the higher side. And also there are other technical overhangs such as possibility of some of the existing investors or the early investors trying to get out of the companies, etc. So to that extent, I think one has to be a little careful there. Although I think there has been a serious price correction. So to that extent, some of the expensiveness of the sector has come out. Nevertheless, there are better plays on the domestic side, which are traditional businesses, manufacturing businesses, which will get benefit of higher margins. And also, if demand continues to be as strong as what we are seeing today, then there is better earnings growth in that basket, which could lead to better re-rating as compared to some of the internet or the new age companies, I would say.
And that's about all the time we have on this edition of SUC or Startup Central. Thanks so much for watching. Do remember to keep the feedback going on suc@etnow.tv. Catch you same time tomorrow.